Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 33 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and recover and regenerate itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while that may seem like a miracle to some, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, we are here for you on The Bright Side at 844-236-6010. If you have comments or success stories you'd like to share about anything we're speaking about here today, 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. Longevity products can be purchased at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. Ask them about joining the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $30 fee. You can have a distributorship, be your own boss, make as much or as little money as you like, work as many or as few hours as you'd like, helping change the world with the power of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Just talk to some folks, talk to any folks who've gotten on the longevity product and experience weight loss and more energy and getting off their prescription drugs and just feeling better. Longevity products, the longevity systems and the longevity packs, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Ultimate EFAs, Ultimate Enzymes are singular products and singular formulations that will change lives, and you can represent this company for a one-time $30 fee. If you just want to get your products at the wholesale price, you can do that as well. Call 866-735-2470 for more information, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side, friends. We've been talking about the nature of ideas, I suppose you'd say, memes, beliefs. We have all of these bad beliefs. I was in Las Vegas this weekend for a trade show for it was for skincare companies. About 1,000 skincare companies there. I don't know, maybe more, 1,200, some crazy amount of skincare companies. It really is. When you think about it, why would there be so many skincare companies? If skincare really worked, we wouldn't have a bunch of skincare companies. Everybody's always searching for a new product, and companies are all popping up all over the place because skincare doesn't work for the most part. That's why I created my Truth products. Because you see, when we think about the skin, we think about the covering on the outside of the body. Nobody ever thinks about addressing what's happening on the outside at the lower levels, which is where the skin is born. And even more fundamentally, at the inside levels, where the skin is born comes from. Skin is just an icon of how poor our thinking about the body is and how it doesn't lend itself to being healthy. That's why we have more doctors and more devices and more drugs and more insurance and more hospital procedures, more medical procedures and more of everything, but we're sicker than ever before because we're thinking mimetically. We're thinking with mind viruses. We're infected. I should say our thinking is infected by mind viruses. But we can diffuse that if we start thinking mechanistically, like an engineer. If we start thinking how things happen, we have to engineer the body, or reverse engineer. Not reverse engineer our body, reverse engineer our illnesses, and come back to the body. We want to think how an engineer thinks when he thinks about a problem, how we troubleshoot. We want to focus on how it is that things work, how they happen. We want to start to become critical thinkers, and that's the key. Critical thinking is the key to understanding any problem. to understanding how to reverse engineer a problem. If we do not think critically, we will fall for beliefs. There's no accident that lie is in the middle of beliefs, B-E-L-I-E-F-S. When I always mix my I's and my E's. I always forget whether it's E before I or I before E. Well, with beliefs, it's easy. The word beliefs, B-E-L-I-E, lie. It's right in the middle of a belief. And we have these nonsensical, crazy beliefs about how our body works and what we need to do to stay healthy. It's just not, so much of it is nonsense compared to how the body works. That's why I always say, if you're sick, go to a biochemist. Biochemists don't work with belief. Doctors work with belief. Patients work with belief. Drug companies and representatives of the commodities of the modern medical model work with beliefs. Cholesterol causes heart disease. Lower your cholesterol, you won't have heart disease. Take an immune suppressant drug. If you have an autoimmune disease, you won't have an autoimmune disease. You'll be happy and smiling like the lady on the psoriasis commercial. That's because the reason we have these commercials is because we're not critical thinkers and we fall for beliefs. We fall for images. We fall for ideas. We fall for viruses. Critical thinking takes work. Body doesn't like work. The brain doesn't like work. Work is not in our comfort zone, whether it's the brain or the body. So our brain works with shortcuts. They're called heuristics. We talked about them last week. Heuristics. 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 It means it's a type of shortcut. It's a computer word. But it also works for our brain, being a type of computer. Mental shortcuts are the bane of our ability to critically think. And mental shortcuts are the tool for exploitation by institutions, whether it's a political institution, a legal institution, or a medical or health institution. And yes, it's an institution. Institutions are there for themselves. They're not for us. Anytime you hear the word institution, you know it's there for itself. I was listening to the political stuff with Robert Mueller in the Mueller report, and they were talking how Mueller was an institutionalist. Yes, there's a class of politicians, I suppose, or government representatives who are institutionalists. They're not there for the people. They're there for the institution. How do you like that? We've got government representatives who are institutionalists. How ridiculous is that? So institutions, anytime you hear the word institution, like the institution of medicine or the institution of law, you know it's not there for you. It's there for itself. That's the definition of an institution. And they love viruses. They work with viruses. They work with mind viruses. And if you've ever found yourself doing something without knowing why or believing you know why, you've likely been infected on some level. If you're working with belief and not science, it's likely that belief was inoculated into you. Think about it. Children don't have beliefs. Babies don't have beliefs, I should say. There's a time when, in our development, when we go from baby to child, where we fall into belief. We fall into this idea of, and you know what? I'm not knocking beliefs or mental shortcuts or heuristics. I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying we have to be aware of it. We have to be aware of where we're operating on a mental shortcut, where we're operating on a belief, where we're not operating scientifically, mechanistically, seeing what happens. If you've ever seen the Super Bowl and they're singing the national anthem and fighter jets are streaking through the sky and you feel warm and fuzzy, guess what? You have been infected with a belief. You've been infected with a patriotism belief. Not that it's good or bad. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying it's a belief. If you ever feel like were completely full, didn't need any food, but you saw McDonald's, the Golden Arches, and you needed some fries, guess what? You've been infected. If you've ever put on a moisturizer on your dry skin and you keep doing it even though your skin, it's not working, or you keep trying to buy more moisturizers and none of them work, or you buy eczema creams and none of it works, or you go to the dermatologist and he doesn't help you and you go back and back and back, keep going back to the dermatologist, and every time he doesn't help you, you've been infected by a meme. If you bought a product because you like Cindy Crawford or any other celebrity, you bought into a meme. You have been infected. That's a lot of us. Most of us. If you taken medicine or had an organ removed because a doctor told you, even though you hated the medicine, even though you felt crappy on the medicine, even though the medicine didn't work, if you ever had an organ removed because a doctor told you, you don't need that silly little gallbladder, guess what? You have been infected. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Okay, we Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number if you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, or especially comments or success stories you'd like to share. We love hearing from you. 844-236-6010 is our number on the Bright Side. You can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. We've got a blog and news stories, blog posts, as well as videos. Lots of free information, good information on our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. You can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the website as well for a one-time $30 fee. You can be in business for yourself. Also want to remind you to check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. We've got new products on the way. And if you're an esthetician or you have a spa business, we also have wholesale products at truthtreatmentspro.com, truthtreatmentspro.com. All right, got lines open, and we'll get your calls in our next segment at 844-236-6010. We're talking about this idea, and I know I've been talking about it for a few days now, but it's really important. As important as the specifics is the importance of philosophy, the overriding concepts that drive the specific ideas of using nutritional supplements and probiotics and going by your symptoms. And I mean, we talk about strategies. There's strategies and there's tactics. You want to think strategically in addition to thinking tactically. If you think tactically without thinking strategically, you're going to fall for this tactic or that tactic. This is the problem. We don't think strategically. We don't think with an overlying principle. I get people who email me with lists of supplements that they take, and it looks like they're just throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks. There's no strategy. There's no overlying philosophy to how they nutritionally supplement. I'm sure there's a lot of you folks out there who are like that. You're taking a whole bunch of supplements because this guy told you that, and this celebrity told you this, and this doctor sold you that, and there's a whole list of supplements. And then you say supplements don't work. It's because you're not thinking strategically. You're thinking tactically. You're thinking with specific steps to take, which are important, of course, but not unless you have an overlying or overriding strategy. A strategy is like a formula. A strategy is like a recipe. I mean, think of a strategy like a recipe. I don't know how to bake, but I can bake the best chocolate chip cookies, for example, that the best chocolate chip cookie chef on the planet can bake. I can bake the best quiche. I don't know the first thing about making a quiche. But if I have this one thing, I can make the best quiche, the same quiche that the best quiche chef can make. What's that strategy? What do we call that strategy when it comes to cooking? We call it a recipe. A strategy is like a recipe. With a strategy, you can get anything. That's the beautiful thing about a strategy. If you have an overlying philosophy that will lead you to your results, you can get anything. Now, there's a couple steps between the results and the strategy, but the strategy is the first step. When I'm making a formula in my lab, the first thing I do is I write down the formula. I come up with what I want to do, what my strategy is going to be for creating that product, for creating that shampoo or that shower gel. I've been creating shampoos and shower gels and doggy mouthwash and ink and lip products and skin products and all kinds of stuff, hair products and eczema products and psoriasis products for going on 35 years. And I always, whenever I'm making a product, I start with the formula, start with the recipe. And if I don't start with the formula, it's going to be a mess. A little of this, a little of that. If I don't start with a strategy, it's going to be a mess. Same with my cookies. Same with your skin, and same with your health challenge. If you're taking vitamins non-strategically or taking supplements non-strategically, you're not going to get results. You've got to start with a strategy. And this is true about life. Whenever you want a result, start with a recipe, a formula, a step-by-step protocol for getting that result. But there's a couple steps in between that result, because just having a recipe for chocolate chip cookies isn't going to get me any chocolate chip cookies. Having a recipe for quiche isn't going to get me any quiche. It's just a piece of paper with words on it. That doesn't make quiche. What do I need? I need to have tools. I need my eggs. I need my flour. I need my mixing bowl. I need my oven. I need my spoon. I need all the stuff I need, the accoutrements, the components of the quiche to make the quiche. Not just a recipe. You need a strategy, and you need tools. And then you need to have a way of applying the tools. Just the tools aren't enough. You got to know, do I put the eggs in first? Do I put the butter in first? Do I mix for 2 minutes or 5 minutes? Do I bake it at 375? You got to know how to apply the tools that will allow you to leverage the strategy or to take advantage of the strategy. So you got the strategy, you got the tools, and then you got the application. And then if you have the right if you have a strategy, it doesn't even have to be the right strategy. If you have a strategy, you have the tools, you have a way of applying the tools, you will always, 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 always get results. Strategy, tools, application, results. I call that the STAR system, STAR. Strategy, tools, application, results. You can use it to get anything you ever want to get. $1 million, a great relationship, a great job, new house, whatever. Chocolate chip cookies, quiche. Start with a strategy, a step-by-step protocol. If you have an illness, say you have psoriasis, what is my strategy going to be? This is why the digestive system is so important. It's the first part. It's step number one. It's the most important, the most critical, the most fundamental step in any health recovery strategy or in any health strategy, even if you're already healthy. Start with the strategy. So say you got psoriasis. My strategy is going to be to keep my immune system quiet, to quiet down my immune system. Psoriasis is an autoimmune disease. An autoimmune disease is a hyped up immune system. An immune system that it's attacking itself. The immune system doesn't just attack itself because it's retarded. The immune system is highly intelligent. It's never retarded. It never makes mistakes. The immune system is, we say it does. We say it's, oh, your immune system's messed up. No, it's not. It's doing just fine. Except for some reason, which I'll tell you here in a second what that reason is, it looks like parts of the body look like the enemy. Parts of the body are distorted. So they look foreign. Parts of the body get distorted by toxicity. A nutritional deficiency also plays a part and also oxygenation, inflammation. All of these things we talk about all the time. The only things that go wrong in the body: nutritional deficiency, toxicity, lack of oxygen, and ultimately inflammation, which starts the whole cycle going again. That's basically what goes wrong in the body, and an autoimmune disease is no different from anything else that goes wrong in the body. So you start off, if you just put a psoriasis cream on because the doctor told you, or take Enbrel because the doctor told you, what you're doing is you bought into a meme. You're not thinking mechanistically. You're not thinking strategically. You're not using the STAR system, and you aren't going to get better. And guess what? Universal health care isn't going to make a difference. So I love Bernie Sanders' enthusiasm and his kindness and his well-intentions, perhaps. I don't know, but it seems like he's well-intentioned. But universal health care for everybody isn't going to help you with your psoriasis. Never. Universal health care may help stitch you up if you get hit by a car. And I don't, air ambulances these days can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Or ambulances in general can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, and you can go broke taking a helicopter ride or having an ambulance and medical procedures after a heart attack, and nobody should lose their house and go broke for that. I don't think so. Universal health care may be a good thing if it's done carefully, but not for your psoriasis, not for your rosacea, but that's what's going to happen. That's another important idea. We collapse these two ideas of disastrous health challenges with chronic long-term progressive health challenges, and it doesn't serve us to not make that distinction. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Okay, we're back on the bright side. Pharmacist Ben here. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page, I should say, at brightsideben.com. Also, I think there's some old archives at benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up. I know Peter is having some health challenges. Hope you're feeling better, Peter. And then also we got a lot of YouTubes. Kevin Peterson, my friend Kevin Peterson in the UK, does YouTubes for us, and so there's lots of YouTube videos on the bright side, lots of free information. That's what this program is about, is sharing the word, spreading the word about the power of good health, and I do it for no charge because I'm dedicated to it. And if you want to make some money doing it, it's an opportunity to start a business spreading the word. You can call 866-735-2470, sign up to join the Brightside Ben team, and you too can help spread the word with longevity products and the longevity philosophy, as well as make yourself some money. Or even if you just want to get your products at the wholesale price. 866-735-2470 to talk to somebody at Longevity. Also, you can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team from brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, so let's see. We've got some calls here to get to. Before we get to that, I want to just read a couple quickie stories here. Viagra can cause permanent eye damage. Sildenafil revolutionized the world of ED. I remember when I first started as a pharmacist, if you had ED, there wasn't much you could do, except we used to make these injections that people could inject into themselves. You can imagine what that was like. And that was like the holy grail of medication, was an erectile dysfunction drug. And then Viagra came out and revolutionized the ED business. There's various erectile dysfunction drugs out there. But listen, it's a drug. And when you take a drug, there's no way to get around side effects. That's just the nature. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. That's just the nature of drugs. There's no way to get around the side effect problem. In fact, when you take a drug, the result that we call a side effect isn't even a side effect. It's an effect. It's just an effect of the drug. They make it sound like it's a side effect. It's not a side effect. It's a legitimate effect that's equal to the effect that you want to get. The resolution to your ED problem cannot help but cause blood pressure issues, because you're screwing around with your blood pressure. You're screwing around with your circulatory system when you take Viagra. That's how it is. That's why they tell you not to take it if you have heart disease, because you're screwing around with your circulatory problem. Aspirin, by the way, is the same way. Although I will say aspirin is much more benign and much more gentle than other drugs. Did you know aspirin works because the human body has evolved over the course of hundreds of thousands of years to work with aspirin? Aspirin is made by plants, not exactly aspirin, but a derivative. Aspirin is just a kind of tweaked version of a compound that's found everywhere in nature. Whenever you eat red pepper, or whenever you eat cantaloupe or asparagus, you're eating aspirin. Actually, not technically aspirin. Aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid. ASA is the abbreviation we use in medicine, acetyl salicylic acid. But salicylic acid that's not acetyl, has not been acetylated, does not have an acetyl group attached to it, does not have an acetyl. Remember, chemistry is all tinker toys. Salicylic acid is a tinker toy. Some genius guy who worked for Bayer back in the 1860s figured out that if he just stuck a little piece to that tinker toy that's found in all kinds of plants, and all plants pretty much. By the way, salicylic acid in plants is a defensive mechanism that kills insects. So anyway, salicylic acid is found in plants. What this guy did in the 1860s is he figured out if I put an acetyl group on there, you'd be able to swallow the salicylic acid. It would make it through your digestive system, and you could get results. Really good, strong results. Much stronger results than you would get by eating asparagus. Partially because the dose is so high. So aspirin became a go-to for fever and for pain, and now in the last 40 years or so for the heart. But as it turns out, aspirin doesn't really help, and it causes problems with bleeding because it's a drug. And while it may have a certain protective effect for some people, it doesn't for all people who have heart disease. According to this article, researchers from Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston did a study on 12,546 people who had a 30% risk of suffering their first heart attack in the next 10 years. They were assessed, and it turns out there was hardly any difference in the number of heart attacks experienced by people who took the aspirin or who didn't take the aspirin. But there were 61 cases of bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding. Why? Because aspirin screws around with your circulatory system, and that's never a good idea, to screw around with your circulatory system medically. How about if we just reduce our sugar intake? There's no therapeutic window to nutritional strategies. There's a very tiny or small nutritional window, or therapeutic window, I should say, for drugs. Aspirin has a bigger therapeutic window, meaning how the difference between therapy or therapeutic benefits and side effects. Aspirin has a bigger therapeutic window. Other drugs have smaller therapeutic windows, but all of them have a small window, or have a window within which therapeutic results will accrue. Outside the window, you get into toxicity and side effects. Drugs have a very small window. Aspirin has a little bigger window, but still, outside the window, you got side effects and toxicity, and you can't get around it because side effects are effects. And we got to start thinking that way about our drugs. So Viagra can cause permanent eye damage. Aspirin doesn't help moderate eye damage. Here's a surprise for you. Pharmaceutical companies are deliberately misleading health agents and governments by suppressing research that reveals a drug that doesn't work. At least half of all medical trials are never published. That means they'll do a study, and if it's good, they'll publish it. If it's not, they won't. And then we'll read the study that's good. This is a classic example of mimetic manipulation, of injecting us with viruses, with mind viruses. According to this article, it's from the magazine What Doctors Don't Tell You. Really interesting magazine, by the way, with lots of good health information. What Doctors Don't Tell You. According to this magazine, What Doctors Don't Tell You, around 80% of the studies into drugs, or no, in one example, governments were hoodwinked into stockpiling Tamiflu during the swine flu scare of 2009, but hadn't seen the unpublished studies that found it wasn't effective. Around 80% of the studies into Tamiflu showed that it didn't prevent complications after someone contracted the flu. And guess what? They didn't publish it. Instead, get ready for this. Instead of scientific evidence, governments were relying on, quote, marketing spiel. I mean, spin, unquote, controlled by the drug company. That's according to Dr. Simon Colstow from the University of Portsmouth. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we have to guard against because we live in a marketing jungle, in an information swamp, an information morass. And nowhere was this information swamp more visible or evident than my trip to Las Vegas to see the 1,000 or 1,200 different skincare companies spewing out their marketing spiel. It was awful. It was nauseating to see that. And here I am with my Truth treatment saying, no, squeaky Ben. Hey, no, it's the Truth treatments. You need vitamin C. You need lipophilic vitamin C, high concentrations. You only need a couple drops. You shouldn't put a lot of stuff on your skin. All the things, all the messages I have with Truth are like a lone voice crying in the wilderness of information garbage that's spewed out in the world of skincare and in the world of healthcare for that matter. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll get your calls in our next segment. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side, and it's time to hit the phones. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. Let's go to Minneapolis. Say hello to our friend Ron. What's up, Ron? How you doing, buddy?
How's it going?
Hey, Ron, we got a bad connection here. Can you work on that? Can you fix that?
Yep.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to let you go, Ron. Ron's gone. I don't have to let him go. He just hung up. So let's go to Japan and say hi to Ria. Hello, Ria. What's going on? Good morning.
Hello, Pharmacist Ben. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What's going on there in Japan? Are you in Tokyo? Where in Japan are you? I know you told me before. Tell me again.
I'm in Kobe, where there was like a huge earthquake like 20 years ago. I don't know if you remember that or not. Like where we have Kobe beef, that's my city.
Oh, Kobe. Oh, I didn't know about the earthquake,
Kobe.
but I know about the beef. Do you eat a lot of Kobe beef?
That was a huge earthquake. Yeah,
Kobe?
we have a lot of Kobe beef. I just had some today.
Okay, good deal. And then tell me about the Fukushima thing. Give us an update from the Japanese perspective, from a sort of Japanese, I guess.
What would like the radiation stuff?
Yeah, are people talking about it, or is it the kind of thing people pay attention to, or they just kind of ignore it?
Not really.
Yeah?
Not anymore. I think the media doesn't try to take it up anymore.
Play it up.
Because
they don't want people freaked out.
Yeah, and a lot of the businesses, like, they were suffering so much because a lot of, like rice products and vegetables come from that area.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
are they noticing
don't want to... It's
for
pretty
business
old
reasons?
news because there were like 2 other big earthquakes right after that. So that's really old now. I think it's almost
hang on,
7 or 8 years ago.
Hang on a second. Yeah, it was about 7 years ago, or 6 years ago. Hang on a second. Are you telling me there were other earthquakes after that?
Not in Fukushima, but like in Japan. Yeah, lots. Yeah, lots of earthquakes.
Okay, I didn't know that. So there's lots of earthquakes happening in Japan.
Yeah,
And it's such a small country, so if there's an earthquake, I mean, it affects the whole country, isn't it, when there's an earthquake?
Of course, yes. Like I think my city, Kobe, had one of the biggest earthquakes of like the past maybe 50 years. Like everything was, like the school I went to, the whole school was destroyed.
Wow. Yeah, we don't hear about that, any of that stuff. So, so Fukushima is still probably spewing off radiation into the ocean, affecting the sushi and the agriculture and all that. Yeah, that's, it's the new normal
Many people
kind of.
died, but they don't want to freak people out, I guess. So the media is not showing all that anymore.
All right, well, that's not very reassuring news, but you know what? That's the thing. People say, well, how come I can't live to be 100, or can I live to be 100 or 120? Or no, you're not going to, because of Fukushima and things like Fukushima. We've just done a number on our environment.
Living in Japan, it's like you have to deal with the earthquakes. Like, I guess people in the U.S., they're sort of used to tornadoes and stuff. It's like that for us over here.
We
I got we have so many earthquakes. It's just, it's almost normal. We are freaked out, but.
All right. Well, I hope you stay safe. And how can I help you today?
It's sort of a stupid question, I guess I have, but I'm a bit confused about sun tanning and burning.
Well, what's the relationship between the two?
The thing is, after I'm listening to you, I started going out in the sun, and I feel really positive. I feel really good out in the sun. But then the other day, I sat out in the sun for like 2 hours, like from 8 to 10, and I was burnt on my shoulders.
Yeah. Well, don't be out in the sun for 2 hours, Ria. You only need 20 minutes.
I know, but...
I mean, if you like the sun, that's fine. Burning's not a good thing, though. You don't want to burn. Burning is just... Burning is where the problems arise from. Tanning is not the problem. A tan is a protective response. There's some people who say, I don't know if you heard me earlier, I was talking about how I was in the at the skincare convention this weekend, and there's all this nonsense about the sun and people staying out of the sun and being afraid of the sun. That's the idea that we extrapolate from the fact that when you burn, you can increase your rates of cancer. Burning's not a good thing. That doesn't mean the sun's not a good thing. It means burning is not a good thing. So you don't want to burn. And if you use internal nutrition, you'll protect yourself from the sun. Internal nutrients for the eyes, for example, will protect your skin from the sun. And if you use suntan lotion, not only will you be for the most part, blocking your vitamin D, but you'll also be exposing yourself for the majority of sunscreen products to toxic chemicals that are especially toxic when they're activated by the sun. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about memes versus mechanisms. If you look at the mechanism of how a sunscreen works, you'll see that it can't help but be toxic. That's why it's regulated as a drug. That's why they tell you not to put it on your babies. Dermatologists are smart enough to know that your baby should not have a sunscreen. Why? Because your baby's skin is thin and he absorbs things very fast through the skin. Sunscreens are absorbed. Doctors know that. They tell your baby not to wear sunscreen, but they don't tell you. They tell you to slather it on. And it doesn't make sense. It's meme versus mechanism. Once again, I want to get to a couple more calls. How can I help you?
Burning and tanning is not the same thing. Tanning is okay, but burning is not. So
tanning is like pulling down the shades. Imagine you live in a house.
All right.
Yes. Imagine you live in a house. Rhea, pretend you're inside your body like you live in a house. Pretend, okay? When the sun hits the skin, it can go through the windows of your house and burn things. The sun is very hot, so it can burn things. So what do you do in your house if the sun can burn things through the window? What's the smart thing a human being can do? Pull down the shades, correct? Tanning is pulling down the shades. A tan is your skin pulling down the shades. It is not burning.
To have a nice tan is all right.
No, it's healthy. It's healthy.
Okay, all right.
It's good for you. It means your body is working. And the more melanin you have, the more electroconductive the skin is. The better it conducts electricity. Melanin is involved in electrical conduction. And melanin is anti-aging. There's so many nonsensical things in the skincare world and in sun protection, particularly, that just don't pass the sniff test. All right, I got to go. Have a beautiful day.
Okay,
I want to get to a couple more calls here. All right, thank you. John, what's going on, buddy? John in Kansas.
Hey, good morning, Pharmacist
Good morning.
Ben. You're one of our go-to leaders in sharing good health information, and we appreciate you very much.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
I want to know what your opinion is on the health risks of wearing clothing that's stain resistant, treated with Teflon.
Probably not a great idea, but as far in the scheme of things, it's not like there's way worse problems. But, interfacing with chemistry through your clothing is as bad as interfacing with chemistry in a skincare product, as bad as interfacing, maybe not as bad as interfacing with chemistry, man-made chemistry from in the inside of your body, but still, it's probably not a great idea. I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not. There's way worse, but it's probably not a great idea. I hadn't heard of that. What's the purpose of Teflon in clothing?
Stain resistant.
Oh, I see. So it's in the, okay, I gotcha. Well, more and more you're going to see this thing called smart clothing. Have you heard of this? Smart clothes.
I haven't.
Smart clothes are clothes that have computer chips embedded in them that can actually become sun protective as they hit the sun, or they can actually monitor things like your blood pressure, or they can vibrate at certain times, so you can get a little massage, like if you're working out, for example. They can maybe report back to the doctor whether you're taking your prescription drugs, and they can put them in your shoes and have various pressures change the way the shoes adjust to your steps. I mean, there's all kinds of things that these smart clothing can do. So pretty soon we're going to be computerized. Our clothing is going to be computerized, and that's the trend. Is our home and our standard tools of being alive, like clothing and cooking and how we take care of our houses, or how we vacuum our houses, are going to become more and more over the course of the next decades. Smart, intelligent. They're going to learn, and they're going to do everything for us. And we're moving into that world. I mean, it's not that far off before we have computer chips embedded into our contact lenses. Can you imagine that? What happens when you have a computer chip that's embedded in your contact lenses, and you could change the way you see? I was just reading now how the Defense Department is looking at making smart doorbells report back to the supercomputer in the sky, whatever that is. So information from your doorbell is going to be reported back to the authorities. Facial recognition, all of these things are on the way. And you and I, John, might not see. We'll just see the beginning of it, probably. But that's just the way the world is moving. So it's probably not a good thing to have Teflon in your clothes, but it's only the beginning. I'm sad to say, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's not a terrible thing. I don't know. But it is only the beginning. John, thank you for calling, my friend. We're just flat out of time. On the bright side, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks so much for listening. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We will talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.